Hi, my name is Renee. Welcome to Millionaire Book Club. Tonight we are well on our way in the book club, which we're reading The 9 to 5 Millionaire. Do not quit your day job. So tonight we're going to go over chapters 3 and 4. And so let's see, chapters 3 deals with views from the 99%. And then the all-star. And so I think each chapter that we go through that you definitely want to stay focused on your dreams. And I know as adults, a lot of our dreams have been watered down or just not there anymore. Because you can remember when you were a little child and you say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And, it's always associated with a employee job, or some people want to own their own business, be a fireman, be a policeman. But whatever the case may be, there's always someone in the class that raised their hand and they may say something that doesn't fit in with the norm or the expected answer. And I have come across many stories. I like to read people's stories or hear people's stories and, come to find out that there's times when someone will have big dreams, big aspiration, and then there's someone that will come along that, like a teacher or a parent or someone that the child respects or looks up to, and they squash their dreams and then, they let it go. And so what I'm encouraging you today is to grab a hold of your dreams. And I can remember just a little bit about my background. My parents were married. They both were working parents, and about the age of 6, my parents separated for good. And my mom moved my sister and I, she was just a little infant baby, to Pittsburgh. We went from Connecticut to Pittsburgh. And so I went from 2 working parents to a single mom on welfare. And so needless to say, I could feel that my life was changed, even though I was a young girl. And I can remember walking the streets, just in my mind saying, you know what, this is not going to be my lifestyle forever. I'm going to live better than this. And only because I was exposed to better. I was exposed to, my parents used to travel. Like I went to Jamaica as a little girl. And so when you get exposed or have a taste, then it's easy for you to find your way back. Whereas my sister, on the other hand, she left when she was just freshly born. And so that's all she knew was a single mom on welfare. And so, I used to always wonder, like, what's going on here? How, we came from the same parents, but yet our lifestyles at the very beginning were very different. And she was not exposed. I mean, later she was exposed because when I was 11, I went to live back with my dad, who always remained working. And then later my sister came along. And then after a while, my mom did move to Connecticut and she did get a job. But what I'm saying is that I held on to the little bit of exposure that I had. And, I was able to find my way out. And also God always protected me and always kept me within reach. And so, and I thank God for that. But as far as chapters 3 and 4, the other piece of it is that Jamal talks about, and let me say this too, if you don't already have the book, and if you're just now joining for the first time, you can go to jamalking.com and purchase your book. To my understanding, it's on sale for $19.95, but definitely I highly recommend this book to add to your library. And so he talks about in chapter 4 about your vehicle and your destination. And so he knew from a child that he wanted to be a millionaire. And let me just say this too, you don't have to be a millionaire to be financially free. It sounds good. It sounds everyone, what do you want to, you go to see a financial planner or financial advisor, they ask you, what do you need to retire? And we all say, oh, $1 million. But, you could maintain a lifestyle on much less and still live the life of your dreams. But if you want to be a millionaire, by all means, you can do that. Set your mind to it, set your goals. But I do want to also say this, there's a difference between obtaining $1 million and a one-time $1 million. And there's also another thing of that your investments maintains that $1 million ongoing. It's not just a one time and you're done, but it consistently stays at $1 million. And so I think that's key. I'm telling you along the way, I mean, I'm learning so much. And so just changing my mindset. And then just playing the cash flow game. If you've never played that game, I highly recommend that. You see, I have the board game, but also because of COVID, we play virtually online. It's available to play 24/7. You can go on there and play by yourself, or you could join someone that has an open board, but we play every Sunday at 3:00. So join us 3:00 Eastern Standard Time. And there's other investors on there. So not only will you learn yourself, but others, you'll learn from their investment strategies as well, which is a plus. But I will say that one of the things that I had to, just now recently changing my mindset, like I've always worked and I've also owned my own business and I've been an employee. I've been in both places, but this stage, I'm going for building a business system that works with or without me. So once I establish it, that I don't have to be there every day to clock in, clock out, or like I used to own a beauty salon, I had to be there. I mean, I could take off for a month, but because after a while, I had employees, I had retail, boutique inside there. I sold products. So I could take off a little bit, but the money that I made took care of my household. So I couldn't take off for more than a month. And that's stretching it. I'll say more than 2 weeks, to be honest. But if I knew then what I know now, as far as investing and having my money out there working for me instead of me working my entire life for money, it definitely would have been, I would have been in a different position than I am right now. But I do now know it, and it's not too late. Even in my 50s, it's not too late. The other thing that, that not only did I work for money my entire life, but also, there was times where I, would get into debt, and then I would spend, it's quickly, you can get into debt within a week or a month, but it takes you years to pay that off. And so I've done that several times to where I paid off my debt. I always paid off my debt. But playing the cash flow game, I'm learning that even with debt, I can still go out and invest, get some passive income to take care of where I can come back and then have my assets pay for the debt. And I keep my debt at a minimum anyway, but you see what I'm saying, that I didn't have to spend all those years paying off those debts. I could have spent those years finding investments that would pay my debt. And so that's key. So he talks about your vehicles and your destinations. So even if he was a 9-to-5 policeman, I'm a 9-to-5. I work in managed healthcare. You may be a nurse, a doctor, you may be a janitor. It doesn't matter how much you make. What matters is what you do with what you make. And so again, I know we're talking about the 95 millionaire, but I'm still going to make reference to the game on how in the game, you're either a janitor, a truck driver, a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher. So it has a variety of people making money, but we all starting on the start button. So we all have mortgages, we all have a little debt, or whether you rent, but we all have a little debt. But the key thing is the strategy is the same. To get out of the rat race, to get to your destination, you'll find that the doctor and the janitor, you can use the same strategy to accomplish their goals. And so don't be discouraged by looking at, well, my manager makes more money than me, or the doctor makes more money than me. When I was a cosmetologist, I still am a licensed cosmetologist, but I'm retired, but I made more money than doctors and lawyers. So you could be sitting on a lot of cash and have no assets. But the key thing is that you want to build find investments that will build passive income for you, that will replace you from having to work for money, that will generate the money. It will then put the money in your pockets to take care of your bills. And so I wanted to talk about the different vehicles to get to your destination. So we're all working, either you have a business or you're working, you're trading time for money. And so you say you want to be, and we'll stick with the millionaire. You want to be a millionaire. Well, when you're starting off, you don't have to pay all your debt to get started. But you want to look for investments that puts passive income into your pocket. So I pull some, what did I do with those? I pull some of the examples, like, so for instance, you're just starting out, you have about 1,000, 2,000, you're going to come across deals all the time. So here's two examples. You're just starting out, you only have a couple of $1,000 in your savings account. So you come across two houses. One is a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, one is a 3-bedroom, 2 bath. The one that is with 2-bedroom, you only need $1,000 down. The cost is $30,000 and the cash flow is 0. Now, would you buy a property that has a 0 cash flow? Now, remember, we're trying to build passive income. Now, in today's market, a $30,000 home, you want to do your research. And I highly recommend, I also took the Jamal's real estate course. But in today's market, you buy a house for $30,000, you do the research and you find out that it's worth, the comps in the area is worth $100,000. Hey, I'll take that house with no cash flow, because I know that I can turn this house around. I can go buy the house, put down $1,000, and then be able to refinance it. So I can borrow, I know that I can borrow up to 80% on the house. So then that might give me, here's a 3-bedroom house, 2-bedroom, where it's requiring $18,000. Now, here I have 2 investments in front of me. Am I going to go after the $18,000, or am I going to go down, or the $1,000 down? So based on the money that's in my account, I only have a couple of thousand. Why not put money down over here and get the smaller property, cash it out, and then that would give me money to put down the $325,000 home with a $900 cash flow. So don't despise small beginnings. So I would know, because of my due diligence, that I could, the comps in this area for $1,000, the $30,000 home, that I can turn that around quickly, because you want to build momentum. You're looking for investments that you can, at the beginning, build momentum. So you may find stocks or Bitcoin that is like, again, using the game, there's stocks in there that you can buy for $1, but from when you do your due diligence, you find out that it sells for $30 to $40 a share, over time, and history has shown that this stock does well. Well, I can buy 1,000 shares, sell it at $30 a share. Now I have 30,000 to buy a bigger investment. So you want to build and make momentum along the way. So, like, for instance, you may come across raw land that you have enough money in the bank for a down payment, but just keep in mind that raw land does not generate cash flow. Now, if you have plans to develop the land and build on that land, then that's different, because then you have a plan. But again, that's a bigger project. Yes, you can do it, but based upon your plans and where you are right currently, you may have to build to get to that status. So initially, you might not buy the raw land and buy a house that gives you cash flow, or a duplex or triplex or quad. The beauty of quads, and I'm not even knowing why I'm going into real estate conversation, but if you buy a quad and you're a first-time home buyer, you can buy that as your first-time home, move into one of the units, rent out 3 of the units. You're going to have 3 doors that's paying the expenses of the place, and will allow you to live rent-free. So again, do your due diligence, do your numbers, and then find properties that you can move in, and then you can repeat it again the next year. And then after the second year is completed, then you can move in, find your third property, and that could be your single family home, but then you have 8 tenants paying you rent. And so you can set yourself up from the very beginning to never pay a mortgage. And see, we don't think like that. We don't hear that conversation, but it's true. You can do it and be very successful. So again, you're looking for vehicles that will get you to your destination. And so with that said and in mind, then you choose wisely. You'll find that you won't spin your wheels on investments that is not going to generate you money, because you're building that cash flow up to where after a while you have $1 million coming in from rental income, or you can make $1 million in stocks. But again, if that's your niche, then you would know how to go about it and make that type of money. But the other thing is that you may have other dreams. Like, for instance, I'll use Jamal as an example, because we're reading his book. He is a police officer. He was looking for passive income to pay his mortgage at his house. So he chose real estate. And then once that momentum got started, then he and his wife opened up daycares throughout the city. The other thing that he did, he's working as a police officer. His father was a police officer, his brother, uncles. So it was a no-brainer to start a security business. So you can definitely take what you're learning from your 9-to-5, and because you're sitting there, you're an expert at what you do. Nowadays, training, you have to create your own training manuals. I had to do that several times on a couple of positions that I had. So you have the ability to grow a business. You have the ability to create new ideas. You have the ability to even leave that job and come back and be hired in as a consultant. That's how some of us are so gifted and talented after years of working on a job that, hey, you can come back and make more money as a consultant than you would as an employee. But again, it's all about how you take all the information. Like when I left Connecticut, I had a beauty salon that I told you about, and I moved to Ohio. So I had to start from scratch, and I ended up having to work at AT&T, which is $1 billion company. I can't begin to tell you the different things that I learned working for $1 billion company. Not only that, I was a sales representative, and we would make $3 to $4 million a year for AT&T. So you tell me that you could not do that for yourself? I believe that I can. And so therefore I am stepping out on faith and putting those skills to my own business, to my own dreams, to my own aspiration. And I'm telling you, you get excited when you're doing the things that you desire and want to do. You'll find that, you don't mind putting in the work. And then, the other thing that I'm finding out, like my job, right now is so busy, hectic, that I'm doing like almost 96 hours a week. Can you imagine putting that into my business? And you do work hard for your business, but you don't put in, you're not putting in nearly as the same hours. And then even if you do, it serves for different purposes and different reasons, and the money is different. And so, I'm just determined to build a portfolio. So not only, and I'm trying to leave a legacy. And so, and even I only have one daughter, and she's an adult now, but she tells me all the time, like, Mom, this internet thing, that's you, that's not me, that's your thing. And so that has me thinking like, okay, well, I'm getting ready, she's an only child, and I'm getting ready to pass this down to her. Why would I work so hard if she's not even interested in following my footsteps? And so then I'm learning about a trust fund. So, instead of passing her down the things that I do, set it up to where it runs by itself, or hire someone to run it, and, keep the machine going long after I'm gone. And so then it won't be a burden to her that, hey, I have to keep my mom's thing going. No. All she'll have to do is worry about collecting the checks. And so, and then I want to make sure that my grandchildren and their grandchildren are taken care of. And so, I'm the third, fourth generation. My grandfather owned land. My dad owned property. I now own property, and my daughter's going to walk in those footsteps as well. You got to keep the legacy going. Each person has to add to the legacy to keep it going. So that way, my daughter, she doesn't have to work as hard as I did, or I didn't have to work as hard as my dad, or my dad didn't have to work as hard as my grandfather. That there was a little push for us, a little, I call it a springboard, to whereas, I didn't have to work as hard as the previous generation, that they gave me a leg up. And so that's what I'm doing for my daughter, giving her a leg up, and then she'll be able to do the same thing for her children. So, yeah, I wanted to share, each week is different, because like I said, I have the audio book, and then I have some videos too from the book. So I'm going to share one of the videos today. And it also comes with the workbook. And so we'll take a look at that real quick. The journal, it says your vehicle is what gets you to your destination. Is the job, the investment property, the new business, the insurance plan. Its sole purpose is to guide you to your intended outcome. So again, if you want to be a millionaire, let's begin to just open up our horizons. Like, what can I do? What can I invest in that will get me to my destination? Your intended outcome. So begin to brainstorm a list of potential vehicles you'd like to take or look into, including your job. If there's room for growth. And if not, there's other companies out there that will allow you to climb the ladder. These vehicles should coincide with your destination. So, look for companies that can expose you to the things that you want to do. Like, for instance, my daughter wants to travel the world, so she's applying to an airline that would afford her to travel the world through her job. So, or find companies that are in different countries or in different parts of the United States that you would love to move. So definitely find places that can expose you. On the left, write the different goals inside your destination. And on the right, complete the list of vehicles. Note, so say if you want to, okay, so if I'm looking for a vehicle to pay my mortgage is a little under $1,000. Okay, so I know because I invest in different vehicles, the only thing that gives me a monthly return is my tenants pay me rent every month. So between the 1st and the 10th, I'm collecting rent. So I know that I can go out there and find me, if I want to stay on the residential side, I can find me a 4-unit. Or if I want to tap into the commercial side, I can find a 10-unit. So, depending on what my savings looks like, what I can, because you're going to have to come up with, if you go commercial, you're going to have to come up with a higher down payment. But again, if you take the real estate course through Jamal, there's lenders on there, hard money lenders that would lend you up to 10% or lend you the money for 10% down. So again, just being around people that talk the language, that live the language, live that lifestyle, that are investors. So you want to definitely, and now I do have some stocks that pay dividends. So right now I don't have it being given to me. I have it reinvested. So along, as I'm getting dividends instead of it, there's times where I did have it go into my account. So you can find stocks that pay dividends that will pay you cash when they pay out dividends. So, you want to look for investments that will pay you and put money in your pocket. Let's see. Now note, this isn't a vehicle for each goal, rather a space to brainstorm potential streams. Now just think, streams they flow. And so we need money flowing into your pocket. There are some long-term investments that will pay you money down the road, and those have a place. But if you're trying to build your passive income, I would do that first. But again, play the cash flow game and you'll learn. So if you don't need money right away, you can purchase something now and cash out later. But again, it's based on your goals and your destination. Now, the key to answering the questions below is to think about the resources you already have access to, like your current gifts, talents, skills, and what you've known for by others. Like, you could be the best pound cake maker. You could be the best sweet potato pie maker. You can be excellent at making quilts. It doesn't matter. Whatever people just, bombard you to make for them. Now, you'll also want to include whether you can tolerate the environments that come with each vehicle. Now, your mental health shouldn't be compromised by working in a space that's attacking your very existence. Be real with yourself while answering these questions. So like, for instance, real estate, some people, now you can start off, like if you don't have savings, you can start off as a wholesaler. And so that may require getting on the phone every day, calling people. Now that may not be something that you like doing. So, you might want to put some money away so that you don't have to make phone calls, and then you can put a down payment and then get tenants. Now, there's some people that don't want to deal with tenants. Now, when I first started off in real estate, I did do my own property management just to give me an idea of what that looks like, what it costs. So when I did hire a property manager, I know when their prices are too high, like, oh no, it's not going to cost $75 to change a lock. I can go to Home Depot and get a lock and change it myself. So you'll learn things along the way. So if you don't want to deal with tenants, guess what? You don't have to deal with tenants. You can factor the fee for a property management company to take care of your properties for you, and have the tenant pay for it. So so there you go. Now I'm gonna go ahead and find the video here.
All right, so in this part, I want to talk about vehicle and a destination. All right. It's been my experience that over the years, a lot of people get their destinations mixed up with their vehicles, and they make their vehicles their destinations when the two are completely separate. So when my dad asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And when I said I want to be a millionaire, the next words out of his mouth was, hey, that's great. But what vehicle are you going to use to get you to your millions? You see, that was the first time that I saw the difference between the two. So right now I need you to see the difference between your vehicle and your destination. Now, in the first part, we talked about your vision, right? So your vision is your destination. But now I'm talking to you about your vehicle. What vehicle are you going to use to get you to that destination? I'm gonna give you an example. You cannot drive to Hawaii. So if Hawaii is your destination, you have to pick the right vehicle to get you there. But along the way, you can drive a car as far as you can go, and then eventually you're gonna either need to get on a boat or take a plane. That's the difference between a vehicle and a destination. A vehicle could possibly be your job right now. So like you know, I was a police officer. So a police officer was my initial vehicle. My destination since the age of 8 has always been millionaire. That's the destination. But now I had to create a series of vehicles to get me to their destination. So when I first started out with the police department, I became a cop. That was my, what I like to say, Toyota Camry, right? Stable, secure. It'll start every single day, right? Every single day you turn that key, that Camry is gonna start right up. That's what your job is. Once though you take the money and invest from your job, you leverage that job to get you to your next vehicle. So what will be your next vehicle? I need you to take the time and write that down. What's the next vehicle that's going to get you to your destination? But remember, when you go to that next vehicle, you don't have to let go of the first vehicle. All of the vehicles are made for you to position you to the next vehicle or your final destination. So I know some of you are thinking to yourself like, Jamal, I want to quit my job right now. I don't like my job. And that's understandable. But see, that's why we're doing this. The whole reason why we're not calling it a job no more, we're calling this a vehicle. Because this thing that you don't like is meant to get you to the next destination. And when you know what your destination is, you really don't focus too much on the vehicles, right? You don't care. Your eyes are focused on the destination. So I need you to go to work every single day with having your mind on that destination that you set for yourself. That's what got me through working as a police officer over these years. And trust me, that's what's gonna get you through working your job. I need you guys to listen. Even though we asked you to identify your vehicle, sometimes while working that vehicle, things are not gonna go as planned. Sometimes things are gonna happen that's gonna make you question on if this is the right vehicle or not. Let me tell you about this one time while working midnights as a Chicago police officer. We got a call of a curfew violators. My partner and I, we seen a juvenile standing outside. We pulled up on them and we asked the kids for their name and their ages. The kids told us that they were 16 years old and we told them that we're gonna take them home. Now, it was customary for us to do a protective pat down on the kids before we put anybody in the back of our squad car. So as I went to go pat one of the kids down, the kid actually pushed me and he took off running. Now see, all you guys that read the story know that I was training for the NFL just a couple months prior, right? So I was ready. I was in all football shape. I was in football form and I was getting ready to chase this kid to go make another tackle. So the kid takes off running and he ran down this dark alley. And I was right behind him, maybe 5 yards. And the kid dashed off in between two apartment buildings. And I remember it just like it was yesterday. I was right behind him and I went right in between these two apartment buildings and was right behind him. The kid jumped up on top of a chain link fence with barbed wire all on the top of it. So at this point, I thought I had the kid and I told the kid, hey kid, come on down off the fence, I got you. Now the kid was still trying to hop over the fence and cutting himself on the barbed wire. The second I reached up to grab this kid to take him down from the fence, the kid reached in his waistband and pulled out a Tech 9 and pointed it right in my head. In a split second, I was able to move the gun to the side while the kid was holding down the trigger and bullets was raining from the gun. Now here it is, I'm fighting for my life. I'm fighting for my life while this kid is holding this trigger trying to shoot me. My partner pulls up and he couldn't see really. I guess it was dark outside, and so he couldn't really see us. And my partner saw bullets just coming at him. And so he pulls out his gun and he starts to shoot in the direction of the kid and myself. So the kid falls over to the other side of the fence after dropping his gun, and I fall to the ground. My partner's just shooting 16 times, just unloading his gun in the direction of myself. The kid takes off running. I pick up the gun. Me and my partner call in the chase. My partner ran up to me, guys, and asked me if I was okay. And I was just looking at him like, no, I'm not okay, man. You just almost shot me. At that very moment, I almost lost my life twice. Now, this was the vehicle that I chose for myself. I chose to be a police officer to help me get to my destination. But during that very moment, I almost lost my life. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys and tell you I was okay with it. No, I was finished. At that point, I was done. You see, some of you guys might have been finished working as a police officer. You might have been finished with that vehicle. You might have quit that day. But see, I wasn't finished because I still didn't reach my destination. I was just done with the mindset that I was gonna allow this job to take care of me and my family for the next 30 years. What I need you to ask yourself right now is, what if something happens to you in the pursuit of your vision, in the pursuit of your destination? What if something happens to you in your job? Are you financially prepared to still continue on and get to the next vehicle? So for me, I always called this my wake-up call. That night will always go down in my life as my wake-up call. So right now, I want you to write down, what has been your wake-up call in life? What was it? Was it the loss of a job? The loss of a spouse? Was it something that happened in your life that you have identified as your wake-up call, that you have to take change, you have to make change? You no longer can live the way you've been living. What is your wake-up call? I need you to write that down right now.
And so that's a great question to ask yourself, what is your wake up call? Because, if you really are honest, that, if you want to be a millionaire, will your job get you to a millionaire status? And we know that it's not, but you can definitely utilize the income that you make from your job to start investing, to whereas then it replaces your job, if that's your goal. And then the other key thing is, and to think about and write down between this week and next week, what vehicle are you going to use to get to your destination? Are you going to use real estate investing? Are you going to use stocks? Are you going to use Bitcoin? Are you going to use a mutual fund? What are you going to use? What vehicle? Do the research and decide what vehicle are you going to use? And you'll find along the way that it may start off with residential housing. Again, you could buy up to 4 units and that's still considered residential. You may then switch over to buy commercial. You may then decide, hey, I want to get a McDonald's franchise. And these are all vehicles that you can use, investment vehicles that you can use that will put money into your pocket. But again, you may not have what it takes to buy a McDonald's franchise. It doesn't mean that you won't get it. You just will work your way towards that goal. And find investments. It could be a dry cleaner, it could be a laundromat, it could be a car wash. You don't have to limit yourself to just residential investing. You can, again, find your starting point, find that vehicle, and then you'll see that along the way, you can incorporate other vehicles that would get you, because again, you can start off to where, like I said, the house is giving you, $300 worth of cash flow, but then, again, you buying, looking for discounted properties, trade that up to, again, like the Monopoly, you buy 4 greenhouses and then you trade it in for a hotel. And that hotel is your final destination to where you were intended to go. And so, one of the houses may be a residential, next may be a business. Who knows? But once you start investing, just like if you look at Shaq's portfolio, he doesn't just own real estate, he owns businesses and theaters, or is that magic? But anyway, you know what I'm saying? You'll start to, as you get more money to invest, there will be different types of investments that will get you to your destination. So don't limit yourself to just one type of investment. Just know that as you begin to build, that different investments will come your way. And if it meets your guidelines, your criteria, then make the investment. So thank you for joining. On the next book club, we'll read chapters 5 and 6. I'm telling you, I'm just so enjoying the book. If you're reading along with us, if you're following us from the beginning to the end of the book, definitely comment down below. For those that are watching the replay, let me know what your thoughts are. And, just begin to jot some things down, start to build a foundation, start to build your, at the beginning of the year, I did a vision board. And so I have, from the time that I get to the place to where, I'm old and gray and I'm done with work and, just activities all together, and that someone needs to take care of me. I have it all charted out to that point. And then I have the different investments that I'm going to invest in to get me to that point to where I am living peacefully, comfortably, and my portfolio will be just as strong as it is the days that I've worked. And so bye for now. Thank you for joining the Kingdom Heirs Book Club.